Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. For the best in poker strategy, subscribe to the channel.
All right, so the tournament hand real quick. Um, so we're playing. It's 1,500, 3,000.
Uh-huh.
Effective stacks are 100K.
Okay.
Folds to me in the cutoff, and I open King Jack offsuit to 6,200.
Okay.
Button and the big blind both call.
So you open 2.1 and the button and the big blind call, and you're at that kind of awkward zone of about 33 big blinds, right?
Right. I have both of them covered, but I have 140 to start effective stats.
By the
Stack is
way, I
100K.
was just thinking about this morning because I'm actually going to play in I'm doing a direct to buy-in. This is why we're doing the call-in show today. They have
Mm-hmm.
a 300,000 guarantee at the bike, but it's going to get more like 500,000. It's a $365 buy-in, but the thing is that all the like real pro MTT players are all up at Bay 101. So you can do this
Right.
direct day 2 buy-in for 2200 that gets you the average stack with 15% of the people left, and it's less vig too. Now they do pay out a min cash before the people that make it through, but the reason why I bring this up is because I'm sort of in tournament mode, and one of the things that I've been kind of training myself to think about is to preserve mental energy. I'm doing the pots and big blinds, and one of the things that I realize is that when you have an ante round that's 1/6 of the big blind, that means that there's three big blinds in dead money, right? The big, the small, 1.5, and 1.5 in antes. Then when you're at
Right.
1/10, it's 2.5. So do you remember what the ante was, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about what it was beforehand. I do not recall.
So let's say it was
So,
one of the smaller ante rounds, right? So let's say it was one of the
yeah.
smaller ante rounds. So you're at 2.5 and dead, right? So you're
Mm-hmm.
looking right now at a so you go 2-2-2, 2.5 and dead. You're really looking at a pot of about 8.5 right now. And the reason why it's kind of cool to think about that is because if I was the guy on the button or in the
So
small
you're
blind,
putting everything into like an M or whatever they call it,
I'm
right?
actually doing it in blind. I'm doing it in blinds actually.
All right.
Um,
So,
but
yep.
but but what I was saying is that what's kind of cool about this is that like if I was in the small blind here and I had a similar stack to you, and you went two, and the cutoff and the button both called, and I know that there's 2.5, and then 2 times 3 is 6. There's 8.5 dead, especially against people that I don't think is going to are really defending. I could like make it 7 to win 8.5 here. Because like 30 is a weird spot to play, but if you've got like 22, 23, it's like a reship stack. Or even if I was at 25, actually, I could make it 7 here, 7 to 7.5 to win 8. And then, like, you either have to move all in or fold. That's kind of the
Right.
interesting part of this. That's where that kind of blocker play can come into play. But anyways, so they both call.
Right. Yeah. So they
Yeah.
both call.
hmm
Flop comes king, queen, nine, two spades, king, queen of spades.
King, queen, nine, two spades. Okay.
Okay.
hmm
And the king and queen of both spades.
Okay.
I don't have a spade.
Right.
Big blind leads 20,000.
Big blind leads 20,000. So right away I'm thinking that so the big blind leads like 7 into 8.5, right?
Yep.
Almost a full size pot. You've got two guys behind you and you don't have a spade. And then what
Well, just one. Well, one guy behind me. I mean,
Oh,
the
right,
big
right.
blind, and then the button called. Yeah.
But the small blind called too, right?
No,
No, just
just
the big
two
blind.
calls, just the big blind. Yeah.
So you've got this guy
So,
who's leading
so
in.
he pretty much bet a full pot
Yeah.
into. Yeah.
And then what does he have behind? What did he start with? Does he cover you?
No, I had 140 to start the hand. He started with 100.
Okay, so you had 140 to start the hand. So you're more like at 50, and
Yep.
he leads here, and then you've got the guy behind you. Boy, that's really, really strange, Josh. Like, do we have any info
Right.
about this guy? Like, what do you think of him?
The guy who led, I had no idea about him. The guy behind me, I know he's like a kind of a Foxwoods type regular tournament player.
Yeah.
He's like in his, I'd say mid 50s. The guy who's on the button.
Mm-hmm.
I know he plays a lot of tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
so he probably knows kind of tournament type dynamics a bit. But the
Right.
guy who led, I don't really know much about him. I don't know anything about him.
Did you consider? Was he a younger guy?
No, he was probably around 50 as well.
Boy, that's interesting because I mean he could have the nut flush draw, but you don't usually see people donk out. Like he could have a hand like 8-9 of spades. You got the guy behind you. I wonder. I think that if I were to proceed with this hand here, and I think that you have him covered, so he's betting 7 blinds into 8 blinds, right? I think you can
Hmm.
call. I don't think I would want to put my stack at jeopardy with the guy behind, and then if the guy behind does something, you definitely fold. But you could call here, and then see what the turn brings, and see what his action is on the turn.
So that's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay.
I called.
Yep.
The guy on the button calls.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that, I thought the guy on the button is probably pretty draw heavy, but I also thought the guy who led was pretty draw heavy as well.
Yeah.
So now we have like 80K in the pot,
Yep. 24 BBs. Yep.
and his effective stacks are like 75,000
Actually,
or whatever
29.
around there.
29 BBs. Yeah, 29 to 30
Yeah.
BBs actually in the pot, and the effective stacks are what? One pot size bet left, or just a little bit
Yeah,
under, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just under a pot size bet left.
Yep.
Turn is an offsuit 5,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a blank,
Yep.
and the big blind checks.
I mean, the guy behind you has you covered too, or what? On the
No,
button?
I have both of
You
them
have both of them
covered.
covered?
They both started with the same. Yeah, I mean, if I lost, I would have been left with what 8, 7 big blinds or something. I would have had 40K left if I would at 3,000. I would have 13 big blinds left if I lose this hand.
God, here's the thing. I mean, it's so
If I
weird.
get
I mean,
doubled.
I'd have to visualize. I'd have to visualize their stacks in front too, because like you said, they have about like 75,000, which is about maybe, you know, like 20, 20 to 25 BBs left, and in a tournament, this pot is so important where you almost don't want to give a free card out. But the thing that's so weird is that if you bet like say 1/3 of the pot, like 10 blinds, if a guy shoves on you, the pot's going to be like 65 blinds, like 15 to call if I'm doing this right. Like you're going to be getting like an incredible price. There's a lot of tournament guys that will play this defensive and check, but I kind of like a bet here. I just don't know if the button is really flatting. When the blind leads out for 7 and you call, Josh, do you really think the button's going to slow play? People want to take that pot down, right?
Exactly.
You know what
That's
I mean?
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, there's no way this guy can have the nuts here.
Yeah.
I don't know what he could be calling with. Maybe 9x, like 9 of spades, like a pair and a flush draw, pair and a straight draw, stuff like that.
I would bet here. I mean, the thing is, if you're gonna bet call it off because of the stack sizes, I think that you can bet like half the pot.
I moved all in.
Okay. Yeah.
The guy on the button.
Yeah, I guess moving all in, because I guess moving all in is fine too, right?
bit-
Because you don't want to get somebody to make a stupid move on you with equity. You'd rather have them just fold out their equity, right?
Exactly. You want him to get rid of any equity he has there.
Yeah.
So the button tanked for, I don't know, I'd say a minute, and then folded.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets back to the big blind, and he starts, chirping. He's like, "What do you have? What do you have?" He's like, "You have to have the nut flush draw. You have to have the nut flush draw, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was just quiet. So when he says you have to have a nut flush draw, what do you think he has?
I mean, I think that he's either going to have the same hand as you or King 10. It would seem absurd for him to slow down with like Queen 9, unless he's really just a moron. It seems like Ace King would 3-bet like pre with those sizes. He hand us as Ace King, but I think that he's going to squeeze there with that dynamic. So
he ends up calling,
mm-hmm.
and he had 10-9 of spades.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I ended up winning. But the guy on the button had said he never showed his hand. Obviously, he folded, but he said he had Queen 9. He folded bottom 2. Or bottom 2 on the flop.
I mean,
so I don't know, but
I don't know if I would fold if I was him, if I actually had Queen 9 given that action. I mean, am I just worried that you have pocket kings and you don't raise the flop? You know what I mean? It's just like you played King Jack that way, which I think is fine, and you might play aces and Ace King that way too. I don't buy it. Seems like a dumb fold from him. All right,
that's what I.
Yeah, go to the 1-2 hand. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.